joins us via the phone. Frankie, we were just talking about the preseason, how maybe it couldn't have gone any better, but it is preseason. You tell me the number one thing you think is going to carry over somewhat into the regular season.
I think basically, I mean, the good vibes of everything. It might sound corny, but really just being at practice and seeing how these guys are having fun, how they've really bought into this new coaching staff, seeing how the coaches have bought into this team too, just seeing how everybody's been acting. It's really kind of contagious. It kind of affects you when you watch it. It feels night and day different from last year, which I think also is something you could say is a very preseason thing to say, that I think people might say, okay, well, we say that every season. Well, no, not last year. There was a lot of kind of factors going into the dark cloud, I guess, I was hanging over this team. The Luke Walton uncertainty. People were kind of calling for his head at a certain point, wondering why he was brought back. Marvin Bagley clearly was unhappy. The announcement came the night before opening night that he wasn't going to be in the rotation. Buddy Hield obviously had his issues. So just the fact that all these players seem, number one, happy to be here. Two, they're just buying into Mike Brown's system. I think it's going to carry over. I think that's going to make a difference too as far as the play on the floor.
So, Frankie, the last couple of seasons, I think there were pockets of the year where it looked like, okay, the Kings maybe have their stuff together, and then boom, a 9-game losing streak, another 9-game losing streak. Last year, different things kind of derailed the way the season was going. Things are positive to start the year. How do they keep it from going down a negative path if it starts to go that way?
I mean, a full buy-in, and the fact that they have this new head coach, Mike Brown, who has been there before. He's coached in Cleveland with LeBron James. He's coached in Los Angeles, Kobe Bryant. He's been a part of the Warriors dynasty, a guy that has been there through ups and downs, more ups than downs in that matter. But it's going to take everybody to kind of buy into that system. And in seeing De'Aaron Fox, who is more upbeat than he has been in the past couple of seasons after looking completely defeated at the beginning of last year, having him on board, having your veterans that you brought in Kevin Huerter, you have Harrison Barnes back in the fold, Domantas Sabonis is here for a full season to play with Fox. You have Malik Monk off the bench with De'Aaron Fox, his good buddy from college. You have all these factors that kind of go into that chemistry. And I think that's one of the things that the Kings lacked was chemistry and being able to kind of dig out of those holes and work in unison. That's going to be huge, just being all on the same page. And those 9-game losing streaks, as we've seen over the past 2 seasons, they are quite literally what can cost you a season. The Kings have missed the play-in by 2 games or so over the past 2-3 seasons since the plan was implemented. So that will be the biggest difference. Can you trim those 9-game losing streaks down to a more modest 4 or 5 with that you see some of even the better teams go through? You can't have those long losing streaks, otherwise you're just not going to make it there at the end of the season.
Hi, I should have my microphone on. Frankie Cartoscelli joining us, Kings beat writer for Sactown Sports. Hey, I'm trying to figure out this defense. 89 or 88.9 points a game. That's obvious. They're not doing that in the regular season. But I to get them around average. Average would be like, it's kind of like making the play-in. Average would be a field day. So without a lockdown defender in the starting 5, without really even by the numbers, we don't know about Keegan yet, even if he does start, or Akpala, without really an above-average defender in the top 5. How do they get around 15th or even, dare I say, better, Frankie?
It's going to come down to every player just becoming even a little bit better of a defender. I mean, a little might be, stretching that. I think everyone needs to increase their defensive intensity by a lot. But you see what De'Aaron Fox can do when he turns it on. And I think that the trivial answer every year has been which opposing guard is going to have a career high against the Kings. That's something I think that's a game we've all been playing for a while now. So if De'Aaron Fox and you have Davion Mitchell behind him, if those guys can kind of lock down that end of things, that's going to kind of stop the ball at the very beginning. And then you see down in the paint, that's kind of the concern. The Kings don't really have a quote-unquote rim protector. Rashawn Holmes had his moments over the past couple of years. I think he averaged a block and a half, 1.3 blocks per game the past 2 seasons, but I don't think you can really count on him to be taking care of all that on that end. You need Domantas Sabonis to kind of show something that we haven't seen from him before. We need to see him play above average or at least average defense because this team needs some rim protection. And that might be something to keep an eye on if the Kings are competitive and if they do play well over the first couple months of the season, maybe see who's out there. Who can they come bring in upgrade that end of things on the bench or maybe even the starting lineup. Again, the power forward position is going to be fluid. KZ Okpala, I would imagine, even if Keegan Murray does return, probably will start on opening night. I think Mike Brown has made it clear he prioritizes having that kind of length and defense in the starting lineup. And it's Mike Brown we're talking about. I mean, he's been a defensive guy everywhere that he's gone. So the guys with Mike Brown, I think that everyone's going to take a step forward, and they're going to have to if they want to improve on that end.
Frankie, in the preseason, part of this Kings' success has been their depth. I think this is a really deep roster that when they got into the Lakers' depth and the Blazers' depth, and the Suns didn't play their normal guys, but I felt like they really took advantage of those games in the preseason. Well, when the regular season starts Wednesday, teams trim it down and play 7, 8, 9 guys and their best guys. How much do you think the Kings' depth will help them, or how much will they utilize that as this year goes along?
I think it's going to be huge. I think that this is the deepest team on paper that they've had, in my opinion, since the playoff drought. I mean, there could be an argument for the Rajon Rondo, George Karl season. That team had some talent as well, but this is a little different. And I think just the fact that you have at each position someone who you wouldn't mind sliding into the starting lineup. I mean, if in a pinch, if you had to, because if Keegan Murray is your backup 4, that's not so bad. If Rashawn Holmes is your backup center, that's arguably the best bench to starting center unit in the NBA. Obviously, then you get down the board. You look at Malik Monk. He's someone who a lot of people wanted to be want to have in the starting lineup. He's someone that you can feel comfortable bringing in. It just kind of goes on down the list, and that's something the Kings have not had over the years. They have not had the luxury of being able to lose a player, whether it be to injury or what have you, and having a replacement that you think it won't be that significant of a drop-off. And that, to me, is a big difference from this year's team, to the past couple of years. So I guess give credit to Monty McNair and his staff for bringing in the talent that De'Aaron Fox has needed for the past couple of seasons, and now it's time to get the ball rolling.
Last thing for you, Frankie, as we talked to Frankie Cartoscelli, Kings beat writer for Sactown Sports. Can we just take a moment, and I mean zero disrespect to KZ Okpala, and no, it's not one of those times where I'm about to disrespect him. Facts are facts. He's been with Miami 3 years. He's played a total of 63 games. He was a second-round pick. I'm very aware, by the way, that Draymond Green and the defending 2-time MVP were also second-round picks. But if Mike Brown starts for any length of time, KZ Okpala over a top 5 pick in the draft who has had a stellar preseason and a stellar summer league, Mike's going to need to keep the passenger seat clear so he can have his cojones resting on it when he drives into Golden One Center. I mean, is that really a thing?
I believe that it's only a matter of time. I think Keegan Murray was in line to start that Phoenix game. I think he maybe even would have started the final game of the preseason. I think Mike Brown, who's always been open to the fact that it's going to be kind of an open competition. It's going to be a fluid situation, and until it isn't really. And the way that happens is if Keegan Murray goes out there and plays his game for the first 5 or 10 games of the season, I think there's going to be a change pretty quickly, because it's very clear that you see it it was preseason and summer league, but you can see it on the floor that Keegan Murray is a top 3-4 talent on this team, and he's going to deserve to be in that starting lineup. So to me, I'm not reading too much into it. I think it's nice that Mike Brown is prioritizing defense and wants to have someone like KZ in the lineup, but I think that's going to have to, push is going to come to shove if Keegan Murray's the second leading scorer for the Kings here a week into the season. It's a matter of time.
Yeah. Hey, Frankie, really fast. Who wins Game 5 tonight?
Oh man, come on! You know the answer. The Bronx, baby. Wow. The Bronx will be rocking. The Bronx will be rocking.
Cleveland fan, Frankie. Wow.
No.
Is that? Oh,
no, the Bronx.
Oh,
the Yankees.
I thought you meant the Bronx would be rocking in anger as everyone was boo.
Oh no.
All right.
Aaron Judge. Yeah, all right.
Market correction.
Check out Sactown Sports and all of the outlets, written, video, sound, and so much more. We're all super proud of Frankie as he is part of that next generation. Chris Watkins on Saturday. These guys working their tails off, doing tremendous work. And we'll be talking to Frankie throughout the season. Thank you, buddy. We'll see you soon.
Thank you, fellas. Appreciate it. Have a good